Chapter 251, I will never touch you. Husband, I don't want our son to study medicine like you because I see how exhausted you are. Besides, our son doesn't have a talent for it. With you as a doctor in the family, that's enough. Fang Hao, having finished showering, found his wife pacing in the living room, talking seriously about their son's future plans. His wife continued, I want him to join the military. Look at his excellent physical condition, stronger and more agile than kids his age. He can't sit still, isn't fit for studying, a bit mischievous, but he's good at hands-on activities. Fang Hao was momentarily stunned and said, Su Ro, stop. Don't get too carried away. Our son belongs to me, and how I choose to nurture him is my business. You don't need to worry, and you can't control it. What you should care about is you, Jia, and your life with your old lover. I've said it before, I'm also our son's mother. I have the right and obligation to care about his growth. Su Ro raised her voice a bit. Seeing Fang Hao staring at her, she added, now tell me, how do you plan our son's future? Don't tell me you haven't made any plans and are just fighting for him to spite me. If that's the case, you'll only be acting out of selfishness and narrow-mindedness, affecting our son's future. Fang Hao responded, you say I'm selfish and narrow-minded. Think about the despicable things you've done. Do you have the right to accuse me? Our son is mine, and I won't let you have him. Yes, I wronged you. Don't be angry. Have a sip of water to cool down. Our son is flesh from my body, and I want what's best for him. After we divorce, I'll provide child support. How much do you think is fair? Su Ro casually moved the water cup a bit closer to Fang Hao and took a step back, seizing the opportunity to bring up child support. I have the ability to support him, so you don't need to worry. Without much thought, Fang Hao, who had just sweated a lot borrowing books, felt a bit thirsty and drank the entire cup. Why are you so distant? Su Ro turned her back, sounding desolate but a bit satisfied because her husband had drunk the entire cup of water. I'll go to the bathroom and then take a shower. If you're tired, go to sleep first. Su Ro took her small bag and phone, entering the bathroom. She cleaned the toilet seat, sat down to relieve herself, then took a shower. After about 15 minutes, she came out and found Fang Hao energetically working on the computer. Had the medicine not taken effect? That couldn't be right. Jia said it only needed a few minutes to work. Fang Hao should be sleeping like a log, but he seemed perfectly fine. Did Jia give me fake medicine, or did she miscalculate the dosage? That doesn't make sense. Jia said 1 drop, and I gave him 2 drops, so the dosage was even stronger. It should have made him even more susceptible. Su Ro was a bit puzzled but also felt fortunate. If Qingbin hadn't punched my husband that day, I wouldn't have gotten his blood sample and couldn't have done the paternity test. Fang Hao, after reading the literature, noticed someone standing. When he turned his head, he saw his wife in revealing attire, her perfect figure igniting desires. However, the more he looked, the more a vile image appeared in Fang Hao's mind, those lecherous hands of that old man, caressing and violating the body he once considered the most precious thing in the world. He coldly said, what are you doing? You won't go home, thinking you can seduce me like this? Su Ro, the moment I found out that the man who entered your body was Zheng Ling Tian, an old man of the same age as your parents, I was utterly disgusted with you. I swore then that I would never touch you again. You? Su Ro was dumbfounded. Indeed, from Fang Hao's eyes, she saw genuine disgust. This saddened her deeply. A man who was once infatuated with her had turned into someone who loathed her. My husband really won't want me anymore. Confirming this conclusion, Su Ro felt devastated. She gritted her teeth, returned to the bathroom, dressed neatly, and left with a dim expression. In the car, she couldn't help but burst into tears. On the upper floor, Fang Hao stood by the window, watching Su Ro's car drive away. Su Ro, you've ruined everything and trampled on it ruthlessly. Yet, you still expect me to act as if nothing happened and continue accepting you, this worthless person? You think the red flag at home won't fall, and the colorful flags outside will flutter forever? You're thinking too optimistically. After about 10 minutes, Fang Hao received a call from his mother-in-law. Puzzled, he said, Mom, why aren't you sleeping? Your body needs rest to fully recover. Staying up late like this, if you have another heart attack, even if I were a deity, I couldn't save you. His mother-in-law said, I haven't said anything, why are you lecturing me? Su Ro went to find you, right? Why did you let her come back? Fang Hao replied, the conditions here are not as good as at home, and I still need to deal with some work. Her presence here would disturb me. His mother-in-law asked, but she came back crying. What happened? Fang Hao said, I don't know. She was fine when she left here. Maybe she didn't get along well with her new lover. Don't worry about her, you should rest. I've turned off my phone. Fang Hao hung up and indeed turned off his phone. He cleared his mind and began reviewing and studying medical knowledge related to the brain and nerves. The cyclic vomiting syndrome at the second hospital is a rare psychosomatic disease with no clear treatment. Zhou Yun's transformation from a normal person to a completely different personality after experiencing a certain amount of pain indicates a significant psychological impact or the activation of a latent personality through prolonged brainwashing and behavioral coercion. This revelation opened a door for Fang Hao, a door to cutting-edge science, whether it's the gate to the devil's evil or a gateway to a new world of knowledge. He had to approach and study to find out. If Zhou Yun's condition was caused by Xingling Tian, it meant that the old lecher had gone so far as to enter this gate of extremes. If Fang Hao wanted revenge, he needed to understand these aspects. Know your enemy and know yourself. In 100 battles, you will never be in peril. Unconsciously, it was his alarm that startled him. When he checked the time, it was already 6 or 7 in the morning. Oh well, an all-nighter? He turned on his phone and soon received a message from Lu Jing. She asked him to join for breakfast. After freshening up, he hurried over. Lu Jing was there, but Zhang Jun didn't look good. Fang Hao asked, Zhang Gu, did you stay up all night? Zhang Jun replied, brother, last night I found Qingbin and had him beaten up. That little bastard hid, but he didn't inquire about it. In Jiangdong City, are there still people I can't find? If he dares to mess with you, he has a death wish. Fang Hao was taken aback. He hadn't expected Zhang Jun to stand up for him. Touched once again, Fang Hao said, Zhang Gu, staying up late for this little matter isn't worth it. Qingbin took orders from his sister, and the root cause was that I got his sister temporarily removed from her judge position. He avoided involving his wife because bringing her into it would be airing family grievances, which wasn't suitable for public discussion. From Zhang Jun's eyes, Fang Hao could see a certain expectation. He knew that Zhang Jun wanted him to simultaneously diagnose and treat Qingbin. Fang Hao said, Zhang Gu, I also wanted to find you to check on your recovery. Now, it's a coincidence, and I'll help you with that too. Okay. Brother, rest assured, I've recovered my life. Whoever bullies you, I'll go with you. Zhang Jun sincerely extended his hand, allowing Fang Hao to check his pulse. Fang Hao found himself unable to resist. Chapter 252. Provoking the villain. After the examination, Fang Hao performed acupuncture treatment on Zhang Jun. Glancing at the coffee table, he noticed the latest newspaper with the headline about the Blue Sky Group. A thought crossed his mind, and he picked up the newspaper, saying, Zhang Gu, a few days ago, I heard someone mentioning the Blue Sky Group, saying that someone plans to short it. Short it? Brother, who said that, and is there any reliable information? Zhang Jun suddenly became tense, his voice slightly urgent. Fang Hao was surprised. It was the first time he saw Zhang Jun in such a state. He asked, what's wrong? Zhang Jun said, I'm a major shareholder of the Blue Sky Group. My friends and I invested nearly $1 billion. If someone shorts it, we'll lose everything. Brother, is what you're saying true? Fang Hao replied, do you know Xingling Tian? Him? Has he set his sights on my Blue Sky Group? That's disastrous, my billions will go down the drain. Zhang Jun, upon hearing Xingling Tian's name, looked disheartened, preconceived defeat before the battle even began. Fang Hao was surprised and asked, what's wrong? The shorting hasn't even started, and you already feel there's no way to turn it around. He almost asked, don't you have 500 houses? Why are you feeling intimidated? But he held back. Zhang Jun said, you don't know how powerful that person is. You may not understand him, but my aunt mentioned the City South Park land transfer project. That extremely challenging project, he managed to accomplish it. His methods unpredictable and effective. Moreover, whatever he sets his sights on, he accomplishes. He's like a god. The old lecher who seduced Su Ro turned out to be this formidable. It made Zhang Jun lose his courage to confront him. Fang Hao furrowed his brow, feeling the pressure, but inside, a blazing anger ignited. You old bastard, you slept with my wife, and now, I can't wait to kill you. Even if you're impressive, you're just an old man, half of your body is already buried in the soil. What else do you have to be arrogant about? I won't let you have an easy death. I will strip away everything you have, make you fall into disgrace, alienate you from your loved ones, make you wretched and miserable, and then let you die slowly. Fang Hao said, Zhanggu, why are you getting scared? It's $1 billion, are you really willing to give in so easily? From what I know, even if Xingling Tian is formidable, he's old now, and he's currently at the suburban light therapy hospital, not as physically and mentally agile as before. Besides, the market is the market, it doesn't move according to his will. Shorting and preventing shorting are mutual games, and the ultimate outcome follows market rules. Right now, the initiative is in your hands. Lu Jing passed by, carrying breakfast. She overheard the conversation and said, exactly. Lao Zhang, if Fang Hao sees a bit of your younger self in him and he doesn't back down, why are you hesitating? Zhang Jun asked, brother, what should I do? Fang Hao said, regarding the specific operations to prevent being shorted, you guys are more professional than me. I won't offer advice on that, but I estimate that if Xingling Tian wants to short the Blue Sky Group, the most likely source of funds would be through the Jiulong Group. You should take the initiative and discuss Jiulong Group, shaking the mountain to scare the tiger. Jiulong Group? Fang Hao's wife is the financial director of Jiulong Group, right? What is Fang Hao planning by making Zhang Jun upset Jiulong Group? Does he want to upset his wife? Lu Jing thought for a moment but didn't ask for specific reasons. She finished cleaning up the dishes, urging Fang Hao to come quickly and have breakfast while it's still hot. That makes sense. Whether the Blue Sky Group can hold its ground or not, we can't let Xingling Tian have it so easy. Zhang Jun turned to Lu Jing and said, let Akin come, it's about work. Do you have any objections? He made it clear, his fish pond had principles, and he wouldn't let other fish invade his territory. Once the acupuncture is done, go find her. Lu Jing didn't object. It was her house, and she couldn't allow those women to come over. Otherwise, if they become familiar with the place, they might try to take over. Okay. Helpless, Zhang Jun waited for Fang Hao to finish his breakfast and remove the needles. He left promptly to make his arrangements. In the car, Lu Jing asked, Fang Hao, your wife used to work at Jiulong Group, right? Moreover, I remember Aunt mentioning that you treated the illness of Jiulong Group's female director. Why would you make Zhanggu disgusted with Jiulong Group? My wife has already left Jiulong Group, but I found out that she kept something from me during her time there. Making Zhanggu disgusted with Jiulong Group might seem like settling personal grievances, but it can indeed help Zhanggu guard against being shorted. Fang Hao, your wife doesn't seem like that type of woman. Her standards are so high, even you couldn't measure up? People's hearts are unpredictable. Knowing someone superficially is different from knowing their true intentions. Besides, I come from a rural background. 4 years ago, I had nothing, and now, I've improved a bit, but I can't say I've achieved much. Fang Hao sighed. If he hadn't confirmed that his daughter Jia Jia was Xingling Tian's child, he wouldn't have believed that his wife had an affair with such an old scoundrel. It disgusted him. Su Ro, you missed out on such an excellent man like Fang Hao. You'll regret it. Lu Jing sighed silently and said, Fang Hao, I don't mean to upset you. Let's not talk about this. When we get to the hospital, let's first visit Jiangdong. After that, head to the main building's conference room for a live TV interview. On TV? Do you think I'm suitable for that? Fang Hao was a bit surprised. Of course, your image and temperament are impeccable, even more handsome than most celebrities. Hee hee. Lu Jing was somewhat amazed. Fang Hao's face was a bit too much, he was even more good-looking than most women. How were they supposed to live like this? Moreover, Fang Hao was extremely intelligent, possessing advanced medical skills that others didn't. If we're judging by appearances, then there shouldn't be a problem. But why arrange for me to go on TV? I'm currently just a senior attending physician. In terms of seniority, it's not my turn yet. My aunt and I arranged it for you. No need to worry about seniority. Besides, if you plan to run for the position of the hospital director, it's necessary to promote yourself a bit. The most crucial point is that you have achievements to show. Fang Hao thought for a moment. Even if it wasn't for the hospital director position, appearing on TV would still be excellent publicity for him. It had more advantages than disadvantages, so he agreed. Arriving at the hospital, Fang Hao entered work mode. He logged into the intranet, checked Jiang Qiusheng's treatment situation, and found that the assigned attending physician was Zhou Long. After a brief thought, he understood that this was Yang Wenjin's way of supporting Zhou Long, intending to enhance his experience in treating critical patients and increase his chances of running for hospital director. Since that's the case, why should I get involved? Compete for resources? That's impossible. Fang Hao decided not to visit the inpatient department and headed towards the main building. As expected, he saw a TV crew of 4 people inside. 3 men were setting up the venue, adjusting camera angles, and so on. Another heavily made up and beautiful woman, presumably the host, was on the side, checking her phone. Director Fang, take a look at the questions and answers I prepared. Later, we'll follow them during the interview. The female host glanced at Fang Hao, her eyes showing both admiration and disdain. Fang Hao skimmed through the script and instantly felt a strong rural feminist vibe coming his way. Chapter 253, like it's right in front of me. Question Director Fang, from your professional perspective, could you discuss how many days of leave would be ideal for female workers diagnosed with severe dysmenorrhea and excessive menstrual bleeding after medical or maternal and child health institutions confirm the diagnosis? Is this applicable to all menstruating women? A. Dear viewers in front of the television, female compatriots have made significant contributions to society, silently enduring pain that ordinary people find difficult to bear. They are the ultimate guarantee for society. Returning to the question, from a professional perspective, the cause of menstruation is the unique and outstanding egg produced every month, which, without the opportunity for Adam and Eve's union, silently completes its life. It was supposed to become a complete child, but it never had the chance. Therefore, this is a significant psychological and physiological harm to women. Considering all factors, I suggest a 5-day leave is reasonable. There were several similar questions in the script. After reading, Fang Hao said, I am a doctor, and I can only answer professional questions. I may not necessarily answer according to the responses provided here. The female host put down her phone and looked at Fang Hao, asking casually, is there a problem with my script? What do you think? I don't think there's a problem. At this moment, Fang Hao's phone rang. It was a call from Zhou Yun, and he found it strange. He went out to answer the call and learned that Zhou Yun would arrive at the hospital soon and needed his help with a headache. After effects? Fang Hao immediately thought of this possibility and asked the person to come to the director's office in the outpatient department. Because Lu Jing was on duty, the office was conveniently available. He quickly left and received another call from Zhang Jun's secretary, Qin. Little brother, your suggestion to discuss Jiangdong Group is excellent. I asked my friend at the bank to check their recent fund movements, and there is indeed a large amount of capital, most likely intended to deal with our Blue Sky Group. Zhou Yun, the chairman of Jiangdong Group, will come to my place for treatment soon. I can help you keep her here. The next step depends on how you handle it. Really? That's great. It would be best if you could make her unable to answer calls or arrange any business affairs before noon. Or, just keep her at the hospital and prevent her from going back to the group to handle work. I can take care of things on my end. Okay, no problem. In the business world, Fang Hao might not have the ability to dominate the market, but in the hospital, keeping a patient was something he could easily accomplish. Not long after, he saw Zhou Yun, who was wearing a professional women's suit that exuded an aura of a career-oriented strong woman. Zhou Yun, on the other hand, felt awkward because she must have made a fool of herself at Fang Hao's place last night. Nevertheless, she had no choice but to come find Fang Hao because her headache persisted, and the ibuprofen and other painkillers were not effective. She recalled Fang Hao's miraculous acupuncture. Moreover, she promised Su Ro to persuade Fang Hao to give Su Ro more time and prepared a sum of money or other favorable conditions. Guiding her to the office, Fang Hao, pretending to be unaware, said, there are many doctors who can treat your headache. Why come to me again? Zhou Yun said, no, I've looked for many doctors, but only you can help me. I had no choice but to come to you. Also, I want to discuss Su Ro with you again. I've known her longer than you. I treat her like a younger sister. Let's focus on treating your headache first. We can discuss other matters later. I have a TV interview soon, and I can't delay here for too long. Let's start right away. Oh, turn off your phone first, don't get distracted. Fang Hao had already taken out silver needles, and once Zhou Yun was lying down, he started needling her. He took an extra precaution by targeting Zhou Yun's sleeping acupoint, causing her to quickly fall asleep. He had another nurse come over to keep an eye on her while he went to deal with the interview. At Zhou Fen's villa, Lu Yu came to visit, glanced at the time, turned on the TV, tuned into the local channel, and indeed saw the live broadcast of Fang Hao. She shouted, Zhou, your son-in-law Fang Hao is on TV. Come and take a look. Zhou Fen came out of the study, indeed saw Fang Hao, put on her glasses, stared at the screen, and said, why is this kid so inattentive to his appearance? wearing that cheap white coat like an angel, dirty and lacking taste. He should wear a suit. His hair is not neat, messy like weeds blown by the wind. No taste. Liu was slightly surprised. She said, Zhou, you don't understand. Doctors dress like this to present a real image of a doctor. Besides, look at your son-in-law, he looks better than the host next to him. His speech is clear and powerful. Most importantly, he doesn't seem nervous at all, handling it with ease. He even overshadowed the female host's presence. Zhou raised her eyebrows, nodding in agreement. Liu said, I don't understand what your daughter is thinking, not appreciating Fang Hao. If my daughter were not married, or if my granddaughter were a few years older, I would hope for Fang Hao to be my son-in-law or grandson-in-law, hee. Don't talk about that. Zhou suddenly felt uninterested and even directly turned off the TV. Despite Fang Hao's excellence, he would be someone else's son-in-law, and she couldn't change her daughter's actions. In the meantime, her daughter had meticulously dressed up in gold and silver, wearing a very exquisite dress that could be described as stunning. Clearly, she was going to meet someone special. However, her daughter's heart was not with Fang Hao, and as a mother, Zhou couldn't salvage the situation. In reality, that was indeed the case. At this moment, Su Rou was at the Sunshine Rehabilitation Center. Su, you look really beautiful today. Xingling Tian pushed the tea towards Su Rou and took the opportunity to hold the softness of the beautiful woman, gently stroking and pinching, feeling it. However, due to the knee blow Su Rou gave him the day before, little Ling Tian was deeply affected and hadn't recovered. This made his already serious dysfunction even worse. The tragic thing about heroes was facing a stunning beauty but being unable to perform. Su Rou didn't withdraw her hand, and even the corners of her mouth were slightly complacent. The man in front of her understood her. But suddenly, the TV next to them switched to an interview program, and she heard her husband Fang Hao's voice. She reflexively withdrew her hand. Turning her head to look, she indeed saw her husband appearing on the TV program, and she was instantly dumbfounded, her delicate body trembling slightly, her heart pounding like a thief caught in the act. Her husband faced the camera head-on, in close-up, his handsome face filling the entire TV screen. Su Rou stared at it, as if her husband's eyes were fixed on her, seeing her affair with the old pervert. No, husband, it's not what you think. She desperately called out in her heart. Xingling Tian frowned tightly. It turned out that he underestimated Fang Hao, thinking he was just manipulating pawns. However, Su Rou's performance at this moment made him very unhappy, as if Fang Hao had taken something that belonged to him. He directly turned off the TV. Su, don't pay attention to the little turtle. This kind of garbage program during this time slot is meaningless. Only garbage goes on it. Su Rou had no more emotions. She looked at the dark TV screen and said, my husband doesn't have much time for me now. If I don't sign the divorce tomorrow, he will announce our affair. What should I do? Announce? What does he have to announce? Did he see us together with his own eyes? No. He has no evidence. He's just bluffing you. Su, don't worry about him. If he dares to say a word out of line, I'll kick him out of Jiangdong City immediately. Don't hurt him. He didn't do anything wrong to me. Now he just wants a good parting. Ling Tian, do you love me? Su, of course, I love you. Then marry me. Chapter 254, Wife wants to sell the marital home. This question, I refuse to answer. On TV, Fang Hao calmly responded to the host's question. The question touched on his personal matters and aimed to elevate women's social status while belittling men. He wouldn't give face to such feminist rhetoric. The female host's expression froze for a moment, followed by a professionally feigned smile. She smoothly moved on to the next question. Su Rou watched the TV, observing Fang Hao. Her emotions were complex. Just now, when she asked Xingling Tian if he would marry her, he still didn't answer directly. The implication was clear, he wouldn't marry her. She turned her attention to the TV, where her husband, still in a category of her own, appeared. She noticed that his personality was becoming more distinct. With high professional competence, he spoke eloquently, citing various references. If the host hadn't interrupted, he could have continued talking for hours. Before he discovered my affair, he was already a chatterbox, speaking sweet words that could melt anyone. But after he found out about my affair, especially when he mentioned Xingling Tian, he didn't want to talk to me anymore. Even seeing me made him feel disgusted. The TV interview concluded, and Su Rou stood up. She looked at Xingling Tian, who was sitting upright, very elegant and solemn. She sighed and said, "Tomorrow, there's only half a day left. I must give my husband an answer. After signing the agreement, I won't have the face to stay in Jiangdong City. I will leave and won't see him again." "Susu, you're too nervous. Little Turtle doesn't have any evidence on his hands. He's just bluffing you. Let me make it clear. If you don't divorce him tomorrow, he won't do anything to you." Xingling Tian frowned but didn't express any opinions. "I used to be unwilling to understand my husband, but now I do. He won't do anything uncertain. He used to be so talkative, especially before he found out about my affair. But now, he seems to feel disgusted just by looking at me, let alone talking to me." Su Ro left and got into her car. She glanced at the rehabilitation unit, her eyes filled with a thick sense of unwillingness and an indescribable sense of relief. The man inside wouldn't marry her. She had asked more than once, and he hadn't given a direct answer. This was his attitude and answer, and she still couldn't let it go. Having invested so much, she got nothing in return, and she was unwilling. But precisely because she got nothing, it was time to let go. "Husband, are you really not giving me another chance?" On the other side, Fang Hao concluded the interview. The female host cast a disdainful look at Fang Hao, feeling a bit resentful. Fang Hao's refusal to cooperate and his repeated rejection of questions almost threw her off balance. Initially, seeing Fang Hao so handsome, she even thought of giving him a chance to invite her to lunch. Now, since Fang Hao didn't appreciate it, she wouldn't give him the opportunity. "Humph, arrogant man. If you beg me, I still won't give you a chance." The executive director who arrived later was more polite to Fang Hao. Despite Fang Hao not fully cooperating with the female host's questions, he looked handsome, had professional advantages, and the initial feedback on temporary ratings showed an upward trend. By the end, the data was still on the rise. From the existing data analysis, although it wasn't the hottest program on the TV station, it was the best data among similar programs in the past 6 months. The executive director also wanted to continue working with Fang Hao, even proposing a schedule, but Fang Hao turned him down. The director secretly felt a bit regretful. Fang Hao left the main building and quickly returned to the director's office at the outpatient department because Zhou Yun was still inside. Seeing Zhou Yun still lying on the sofa, sound asleep like a pig, despite being a mature and beautiful woman, a director of a large corporation, she still snored. Fang Hao asked a nurse who confirmed that Zhou Yun hadn't woken up yet, so he signaled for her to continue sleeping. Shortly after, Lu Jing came over. Seeing Fang Hao gesturing not to wake Zhou Yun, she asked, "Is she okay sleeping like this?" "No problem, she'll just think she didn't sleep well last night and is tired." "How do you know?" "People with headaches probably can't sleep well, right?" "Oh, director, you're not on duty in the front anymore? Anything important brought you back?" Fang Hao didn't mention last night's events with Zhou Yun. "That girl with cyclic vomiting syndrome from the second hospital, named Xiao Xiao, do you remember her? She came to my clinic and wants you to treat her." "Oh, no problem with the treatment. Just, did Director Jianghua agree? After all, this patient is from his department. After our consultation, if the patient comes directly to us, he might think we snatched her." "No problem. I just talked to him. He's also struggling with this case. Although he knows the cause, there's no specific cure for this disease. He hopes we can take over." "Fang Hao, if it's possible, take it. If not, let it be. I'll push it back. We can take it. Last night, I researched some topics related to brain nerves. I made a discovery, and I think it's worth a try." "Okay, with your words, I can rest assured." Fang Hao went over, gave Lu Jing the examination order for Xiao Xiao, including a brain CT and a 3-dimensional CTA. Then he went to the back to review the first-hand video and images. In his mind, he integrated traditional Chinese medicine meridian theory, Western anatomy, and the comprehensive images, forming a complex virtual 3-dimensional model. He discovered an anomaly. Sure enough, it was as he thought. With confidence, Fang Hao explained to Xiao Zhao's mother and proposed a treatment plan, seeking her opinion. Xiao Zhao's mother didn't understand the theory behind it, she only cared about the efficacy. Learning that her daughter might recover soon and return to school within 10 days in the ideal scenario, she agreed. After an hour of treatment and nearly half an hour of observation, Xiao Xiao showed no signs of vomiting. Success. Fang Hao was delighted, letting the mother and daughter leave. Lu Jing asked, "Is this method effective?" "It's not a complete cure, more like a balance. As long as she doesn't vomit in the next 10 days, and unless she experiences a stimulus far beyond her capacity, she won't have a recurrence. Balance? Similar to your treatment for old Zhang and myasthenia gravis? Yes, after all, I'm just an ordinary doctor. For diseases that modern medicine can't cure, I'm also powerless. But you're ahead of others. Keep it up. After work, back in the office, Lu Jing saw Zoyun still sleeping. She asked, "What should we do about this person?" "Don't worry about her, let her sleep." As long as Fang Hao didn't remove the silver needles from Zoyun's sleeping points, she would continue sleeping. As long as Zhang Jun didn't provide any information, Fang Hao would keep delaying Zoyun. Considering Zoyun's performance last night and her history of headaches, even if she woke up, she wouldn't suspect Fang Hao had done anything. Ding ding! Fang Hao received a message from his mother-in-law, reporting his wife's actions. His wife contacted a real estate agent to sell the marital home they had lived in for 4 years. Fang Hao was surprised. She sold the house. Does that mean she's going to live with Xingling Tian in Tianji Peak? It seems like her negotiations went well. Fang Hao suddenly felt a sense of emptiness in his heart. Love had nowhere to rely on. Chapter 255, Family Disrupted. After lunch, Su Rou placed a cup of warm water in front of her mother, supervised her to take the medication, and only then felt at ease. "Mom, I'm going out for a bit. I'll have my husband come back to sign a document. In the afternoon, we need to move things back from there." Su Rou's mother knew that she needed Fang Hao to come back and sign for the house to be sold. Although Su Rou was the owner, there was a supplementary agreement when they purchased the house. It required Fang Hao's awareness and consent for any future buying or selling of the house. Now that Su Rou wanted to sell the house, she needed Fang Hao's signature. She said, "Xiao Rou, think it over again. You two have lived in that house for 4 years, and there are emotions attached. My husband would rather rent an apartment than go back there. He doesn't like it, and there's no point in keeping it. Then where will you live in the future? With that person you're close to? There's no such person. I only have Fang Hao as my husband, and he's the only man for me. Mom, let's not talk about this. Take your medicine and rest well." Su Rou left and quickly met Fang Hao in front of a real estate sales department. Wearing loose home clothes, no makeup, looking exhausted, and full of sorrow. Seeing Su Rou's appearance and comparing it to the photo her mother sent him in the morning when she left, the difference was like night and day. When she went to see Xingling Tian, she dressed up to please that old guy. But when she saw me, she presented such a pitiful appearance just to show off. In her mind, the hierarchy between people is clear. Fang Hao didn't say much, he entered and signed the agreement prepared by the sales department staff. Su Rou's house was in a prime school district with good surrounding facilities, so it was in high demand. Once she inquired, the sales department readily agreed. After completing the formalities, Su Rou and Fang Hao went back to the house. The moving company would arrive later. They each drove their own cars, not speaking along the way. Upon arriving home, Fang Hao put down his keys. He went to pack up Tian's clothes and belongings, which he would take with him shortly. Tomorrow, after divorcing Su Rou, he would live with Tian father and son, relying on each other. Su Rou said, "Husband, why didn't you object just now? If you don't agree, I won't sell it. It's your house, you make the decision. Besides, we're getting a divorce, and I don't have the right to judge your actions. If it makes you happy, that's fine. Husband, I want to give the house to you. Don't. I can't afford it, and I don't dare to ask for it. I've seen Xingling Tian's art style, including the sculpture in front of Tianji Peak and the decoration style of this house. It's tailored for you. To be precise, this is your love nest. I'm just a shield you brought in. I was really foolish not to realize it earlier. For 4 years, almost all the time I wasn't at home, Xingling Tian came here to mess around with you. This place has disgusted me for 4 years, and I didn't even know. I'm really stupid. So, Su Rou, if you don't divorce me tomorrow, you know what measures I'll take. Husband, don't act impulsively. My parents are innocent. What about me? Do I deserve this?" Fang Hao shouted, finding that he wasn't as angry and resentful as he thought. He knew he had long given up on this despicable woman, so he calmed down and said, "Tomorrow, after you sign, we'll go directly to the Civil Affairs Bureau." "Okay, husband, I'll follow your lead." Su Rou's face was very calm. She leaned against the door, quietly watching Fang Hao pack their son's clothes, her gaze helpless and hollow. Before long, the moving company arrived and started the moving process. Neighbor Rueli came over, surprised, and asked why Su Ro was moving. She only learned that Su Ro had sold the house. Rueli noticed that Su Ro didn't look too good and guessed that something had happened or was about to happen. She pulled Fang Hao into her house, saying, "Something's not right between you two, are you getting a divorce?" Fang Hao replied truthfully, "We're handling the paperwork tomorrow." Rueli was shocked, but at the same time, she felt it was expected because Su Ro had been unfaithful. Given Fang Hao's young temperament, not getting a divorce would be strange. She asked, "What about the child?" "One each, our son will stay with me." "Oh, where's Lao Dong? I need to talk to him." Fang Hao remembered the situation where Dong Yunzhou photographed Yue Xia Huo. Rueli mistook it for his wife Su Ro, and he thought Dong Yunzhou would also suspect his wife. Considering that his wife actually liked an old man like Xingling Tian, Fang Hao had a bad feeling about the middle-aged man next door, probably in his 40s or 50s. It seemed like having Lao Wang living next door wasn't a good sign. Dong Yunzhou was at home, and Fang Hao wanted to talk to him. Rueli opened the door, letting Fang Hao in, and she went to find Su Ro. After all, they had been neighbors for a while, and this might be their last chance to meet. On the other side, Fang Hao entered Dong Yunzhou's study and saw him practicing calligraphy. Seeing the bruises around Dong Yunzhou's eyes, Fang Hao was slightly surprised and asked, "What happened to you?" "Oh, the upstairs renovation was making noise, so I went up to talk to them. Those people started a fight, and I accidentally got hit. The police came, and they settled with a few $100. Unlucky." "Fang Hao, why are you here? Did Lily tell you?" "She mentioned something. She entrusted Little Tiger to me a few days ago to investigate you. She told me about it." "Not that, she wants to have a night with you?" "A night? What do you mean?" "She wants you two to book a hotel room, and she wants to be with you as revenge against me." I agreed." "What? You agreed to something like that?" "If I didn't agree, and she made a scene at my workplace, threatened to divorce me, I would be ruined. Besides, I've wronged her. I cheated on her, and she's returning the favor." "Fair enough. She chose you, and I know you're clean. I trust you." "Damn it, I don't agree. I don't want to be involved in your messy marital affairs." "Dong Yunzhou, I didn't come here to discuss these things. I'm asking you, why do you have this photo?" Fang Hao was speechless. Rueli disappointed him by using him to retaliate against Dong Yunzhou. She was lowering her own standards and becoming a rotten person. He pulled out the photo on his phone, the one of Yue Xia Huo and Xingling Tian. Dong Yunzhou said, "How did you get this photo?" "Right, Lily must have given it to you. I took this photo last year while traveling abroad, unintentionally capturing your wife." "This isn't my wife, she didn't go abroad last year. This woman is Yue Xia Huo, an art student at Jiangdong University." Fang Hao showed another photo, Yue Xia Huo's picture. Dong Yunzhou looked at it, his eyes lit up. Indeed, they look very similar. "Fellow Dong, did you use this photo to threaten my wife? Did you blackmail her?" No, I'm not that kind of person." Dong Yunzhou quickly denied it, but there was a trace of panic and fear in his eyes. "Fellow Dong, we have no blood ties, but we've been neighbors for 4 years. We know each other well, so there are some boundaries you shouldn't cross. Lily knows about your situation, and I know too. She won't go to your workplace, but I still have that right. You don't know, retired cadres from your education system are still receiving treatment at our hospital. Every now and then, there are officials from your system visiting. I just need to stop one, speak a few good words for you, and your status as a small high school teacher will be set as an example." Dong Yunzhou panicked and rushed to Fang Hao, kneeling down and saying, "Fang Hao, please have mercy and spare me. I swear I'll mend my ways now. I won't do anything reckless. It's better that way." Fang Hao didn't expect Dong Yunzhou to be so despicable, making him feel uninterested. He also understood the origin of the photos. Dong Yunzhou accidentally took them, and Fang Hao decided to leave. Watching the movers continuously dismantle and move things from the house, Fang Hao's heart once again felt the loss of a pillar and connection. The scenes that were once incredibly sweet were now just a mess.